Hey guys, how are ya? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. In recent videos, I've seen a few questions regarding my lease of my vehicle. And some questions like, talk about it maybe financially, how does it work, pros and cons in terms of leasing. And I know other people have asked me questions regarding my lease of my car, like why do you lease versus purchase? I will mention first off, if you hear noise like the rumbling in the background, I'm sitting near the Harry Reid International Airport here in Las Vegas, doing a little plane watching before I head home after a very nice day. And so before I start talking about my experience with leasing and while I continue to lease, I'm going to talk a little bit about, in terms of context, cue the airplane. That was, who's that? That is United. In terms of some context, so you can sort of see why leasing made a little bit more sense for me first. So I come from Boston, where I am not used to owning a car. Owning a car in Boston is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly expensive. They call it America's walking city because driving is so painful. So I come from a place where I'm used to taking public transportation at a very reasonable price, mostly because everything else is so expensive in Boston. So flash forward to 2017. I moved to Las Vegas as a brand new flight attendant with a low-cost carrier. And if you know anything about the career path of a flight attendant, it is not based on money. The first 4 years are tight. You don't make a lot of money. There are so many reasons the job is absolutely amazing, and I will be doing it until I can't do it anymore. But financially, it's just really a challenge. The first few years is very difficult. So when I moved to Las Vegas, I got a very, very cheap studio apartment. It was $500 a month, including everything. Yes. It was right on a bus line that got me right to the airport. So I paid $65 a month, I think, for a bus pass. And I'm used to public transportation. Although public transportation here in Las Vegas will definitely keep you humble. It is definitely an experience. I lived in a fairly low-income neighborhood anyway, and then compound that with everything you find on a bus in Las Vegas. It was really an experience. And I'm wearing a black polyester uniform, carrying 80 pounds of luggage, and it's 116 degrees. It kept me humble, I'll tell you. But I could afford it. That was what I could afford at the time. My cheap apartment and the bus. That was what I could do. Now, flash forward 4 years, 2021. Pandemic. The interest rates for real estate were very low. I decided to invest in an apartment or look into buying a condo. I ended up buying my condo, 2.25% interest rate. Thank you very much. Very excited about that. But my mortgage was super reasonable. My mortgage was like $835, $840. Versus the $500 a month I was paying. So I felt like I was taking a bit of a financial hit anyway. And I was just afraid to give up all of my money at the time, for a condo and to either rent or buy a car. I wasn't sure I could do both of those things and still have money for food, So I ended up buying my condo. But 6 months of living in my condo, having to take 2 buses in Las Vegas, it would take me 3 hours to get to the airport sometimes. And if my report time was 6 a.m., I literally had to leave the house at 3 o'clock in the morning for work. And then the whole experience of taking 2 buses and missing, it was just horrible. So I hated it enough. But I've gotten a number of raises for my income. So I decided, you know what, let's bite the bullet. Let's start looking into leasing a car. That was 2021. Either leasing or purchasing a car. Now, I know myself, maintaining things is not my skill set. Ask my ex-husband. ask my dentist, ask anybody who knows me. Maintenance of things is not my top priority. I don't know why. I'm just not very good at it. I just seem to let things slide until it's too late, and it's just not great. So buying a junker or buying some cheap, point A to point B car wasn't going to be a smart deal for me, because I just know it wouldn't last very long. So I knew I wanted to get either a relatively new car or a brand new vehicle. So I decided I was going to go for a Toyota or a Honda. I first went to the Toyota dealership to discuss whether purchasing or leasing was going to be a good choice for me. I'm so glad that the salesperson was such a jerk. They were absolutely horrible to me. Now, I walked in without a lot of experience in terms of buying or leasing a car. I hadn't done it. I had never purchased a new car in my life. I didn't walk in there with a lot of experience in that. I came in with a lot of life experience. I was a salesperson in fine jewelry for many years. I could sell you a $200,000 bracelet. So don't treat me like an idiot when it came to actually buying a car. So this dealership really treated me like trash. And so I left them and went right over to a Honda dealership that was relatively close to my condo by chance. And I walked in and they were amazing. They were thrilled that I was even there. And we talked about purchasing a car. And the price, and I don't even remember the pricing. I really don't. The price was just a little higher than I was comfortable with. It felt like I was going to be just above the water. And that was for a car that I didn't want for long. I could really only start looking at base models of cars. And later on, I would like a nicer car with cooler features and neater things and better lights and doodads and stuff, right? So buying a base model just felt like the wrong choice. So I asked about leasing options. And they were very kind and very patient. And we went over some numbers, and I told them what I was willing to spend. I told them the absolute most I was willing to spend was $300 a month. And they didn't love that number. It wasn't what they were hoping for, but I don't even know if that was good or bad. I just knew that was the most money I was willing to pay per month for a vehicle. I could still take the bus or take Ubers. I'd be fine. But in the end, taking the bus and getting Uber back and forth on the airport and stuff like that, I was going to spend $300 a month anyway. So I said $300 is the most I'm willing to pay. And I was looking at the Honda HRV 2021. Loved the car. Adorable. I didn't think I'd fit in it because it's so small and I'm so tall. But it ended up being a fantastic little car. So I leased it for $300 a month. They went through all the games. Oh, we can't do that. We have this expectation, financial, and that, and the other, and that, and that. But then I'm like, well, that's all I'm going to spend. And then, well, we found this something here, this discount I found here for end of the month, and we'll do that. And so yes, we can do $300 a month. Awesome. Car insurance. Oh man, it's so expensive here in Las Vegas. So I said yes to the car. They did all the numbers. I signed all the papers. I had to get insurance for the car while I was in the dealership. So I don't even know who I have, Geico. So I called Geico, got insurance on the car, and I drove out of the dealership with a brand new car. Now, I didn't purchase it again because I didn't want the base model Honda HRV from 2021 in 2030. That's not the car that I want for the future. So leasing made sense to me. It was a great car. It was brand new. I just left the lot with it. It was super easy. It was a reasonable price. Why not? All right, let's do it. So I was very happy with my decision to lease, mostly because, again, that was not the car I wanted today. It was kind of like dating, it's the date. I don't want him to be my husband. I want to go out on a date, So I was dating with the 2021 Honda HRV. So flash forward, little over 2 years. Now, Honda also has a very nice maintenance plan because I told you I'm not great at maintaining things. It is, I believe it's an addition to your base payment, that it's not free. So what my $300 max included that basic maintenance plan. So I went in for my maintenance scheduled visit at the 2.25 years. I drove in, had the car maintained, super easy, because if you don't know a Honda, they're very, very easy to maintain. I sat there waiting for my car, and I saw this car sitting in the dealership, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. It's a cute car. The 2024 Honda HRV in white. It's adorable. It looks very expensive. It definitely looks more expensive than it really is, and it drives beautifully. But so I'm looking at the car, and I'm like, man, that's a good looking car. And as the guy who's helping me comes up and says, hey, your car's almost ready, and blah blah blah. And I said to him, what would it take to upgrade to this vehicle that I'm sitting in right now? He's like, oh yeah, let's sit down and talk about it. And the whole story unfolded again, sort of the same situation. Like, what are you expecting to pay? How much are you willing to pay? And I told him I'm unwilling to spend more than $50 more a month for a new car versus the old Honda HRV, the 2021, because I was quite happy with that little car. And I think he kind of choked a little because that doesn't sound like a lot of money for them. So I said, maximum $350 more. And long story short, they said okay. So I got this car for $350 a month. I did invest in a slightly better, higher, more feature-rich maintenance plan. So I do pay a little bit more than that. I pay $395 total a month to lease this car. Now, it's not a Porsche. I don't want to drive a Porsche. I love my little Honda HRV. It's zippy. It gets me around wherever I want to go. It's super nimble. It parks like a dream. I love my car. Pros and cons in terms of leasing a car. First off, I don't have the commitment to the base model. Like, this is a base model. It's got more features than the last one did. It's got a whole safety suite that I just think is fantastic. Everything about this car is upgraded from its last iteration. But even this base model might not be the car that I want 10 years from now. So leasing would allow me to not be sort of stuck with this car. Like like a bad date. So I get to upgrade to another brand new vehicle if I'd like to. I'm not stuck in this commitment with this vehicle. So for me, that seems like a great thing. Next, it really comes down to me not wanting this car in 10 years. So the next lease, the next time I look at a car, I'm contemplating leasing for the next vehicle, but maybe going for a car with maybe a sort of more rich package of details and stuff like that, more options. The higher, what do they call it? I don't know. So the next lease, I might go with a slightly better car, nicer car, and maybe after that, purchase the car that I can afford, that I want to own for the next 10 or 15 years. So I like the fact that I'm not committed to this. The maintenance plan has been fantastic. Anything that has given me pause, I drive in, I call them first. Sometimes I don't even do that. I just drive in and go, hey, do you have a moment? And they're always great. I love my dealership. But maintenance has been exceptional. They take care of this thing better than I would, and I don't have to worry about it. When they say, oh yeah, we're going to change your battery, we're going to change this, we're going to rotate your tires, we're going to do all these things, I don't think, oh gee, how much is this going to cost? So it's just done. It's just easy. Just take care of it for me. Thank you so much. So the lack of commitment, the lack of work or effort on my part has been nice. It seems affordable. The cons, it seems affordable, but the money that I do pay each month goes right out the window, doesn't it? Does it? Because if I decide that the next car in another year and a half or so, if I decide the next car is the one I want, but it's so expensive because of tariffs, because tariffs are a thing now in 2025, and it's going to get worse in the next year and a half or 2 years. So the purchase price of that next car might decide whether or not I lease or purchase. It will all really depend on the price. If either leasing or purchasing are really just out of range because of these tariffs, they're going to add a lot of money to the price. I might contemplate purchasing this car. Now, this isn't the car ideally that I would like to own in 10 years, but I love it. And the features are really fantastic for a base model. So I would contemplate keeping this car. And in that case, the money that I've given them doesn't quite go directly towards the purchase price, but it brings the price down. So when I do decide, oh, I love this car, let's buy it after the lease is over, the price will be lower. It'll be a new loan. It'll definitely be a new loan, so they'll have to talk about numbers over again. But I would be buying the car outright then. So financially, it's been a easy, simple, comfortable decision. Is it the most fiscally responsible? Probably not. Has that been my lifestyle? Never. So I'm not too upset about that. And I'm sort of excited about the journey, maybe possibly about the next car. I'm definitely staying with Honda. I love my car. I love it. If they continue to make the HRV, I'm going to stick with it. Mostly because I love the way it drives. There's so much, if you could see what's in the back of my car, I thrift a lot and I don't take anything out of the car. There's got so much storage in the back and I just love it. Plus my garage, I'm not sure if I've mentioned my condo, my garage is wide. It's a 2-car garage, full of stuff, but it's very short lengthwise, and this car fits perfectly. So I think I've touched on why I lease, why I continue to lease, and why I will probably lease in the future. There's very few cons. I mean, the only con I can think of is in terms of I'm not really building equity as I'm leasing, but if I decide to purchase this vehicle, the price won't be the full sticker price that it was. So it's almost, I can lie to myself, it's almost like I'm putting money towards it in the future. So I can lie to myself about that. I've lied about other things that are worse. But I think that's it. I think I've touched on all the things I want to touch on. If I did not, please leave a comment in the section below. I will try my best to expand upon that or maybe include it for a future video. There you go. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I hope that I answered some questions. All right, take care, and I'll see you soon. Fly safe. Bye.